You won your first championship. You're on a team right now that has the potential to be really dominant because of the executive staff has done a great job in terms of draft picks, putting together the team, and everything else. So he's going to be in a great winning situation for the next 5 or 6 years. Now, can they continue winning? Can they stay healthy? Can they resist what Pat Riley coined the disease of more? Because every player is going to want more time, more shots, and more importantly, more money in a small market.
So, Smitty, when I look at the best players on a championship caliber team, no question SGA's that guy. You played with Tim Duncan. You played with LeBron James, right? You kind of understand that pecking order. What does that do for the rest of the team when you get to the NBA Finals like this?
Well, it brings everybody's confidence. And I think when you look at it, the hard work that pays off, they'll go in and work even harder to get, like he says, greedy. But also go back to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. What I love and watched his maturation and been talking to his trainer about, he's still got a room to go because it's the 3-ball now. Once he starts hitting the 3-ball, people don't understand. We've watched a guy win an MVP and do all these accolades, basically from the mid-range and the free throw line. You get the 3-ball for him, that'll make him quicker. That'll make him more dangerous. Guys got to pick up even earlier, and then the guys will be running at him. And you know this, Channing. It will be unbelievable if he can start to make 4 to 5 threes in a ball game.
It'd be unguardable. And to get back to that graphic about in this day and age, this is a bigger guards league. Yeah. Shaq is physically dominant. Obviously, I think that was Wilt or Kareem.
It was Kareem.
Physically dominant. He's 6'4", 6'5". Yes. And he's playing in a league where people average 100-something points. So we're saying you can score and your team wins and you're the best player. To add those 3 things up doesn't usually happen, especially when you play a team like the Pacers who have 8 guys who get an opportunity to score. So that's one. And then 2, I think we're not taking into account the maturity and the culture setting that SGA is. He has set the culture here and made sure everyone, he's a hooper. He's a basketball head. You look at Chet, you look at Lou Dort, you look at Jay Williams, right? You look at Jalen, sorry. You look at all these guys, and you're like, wait a second. All y'all are start to bleed into each other. They're unwavering in their confidence and in their work, and that is something that is, they're going to want money somewhere else, but what they have here, they need to stay here as long as possible.
You know, and I compare to after I won my first championship in Detroit, right? And you look at winning it from the point guard position in a league that has been dominated, by the small forwards, the centers, and the bigs. But to do it at the point guard position, it takes a special person, special personality, and then to be able to score and be unselfish from that position. Now can you come back and say, okay, to really put the icing on top, the question is, can you do it again? And that's on that graphic that we showed, all those guys, at their positions, they came back and did it one more time to really make it, stand out.
Well, let's stay on that point because this is the 7th champion we've seen in the 7th consecutive season. It's never happened in NBA history. So what is it going to take for us to be sitting here with a team to repeat finally, Smitty?
Well, I think all of us know we're not looking at this roster and saying, oh, wow, up age, he's getting older. These are young guys. Yeah. Everybody from Chet Holmgren, Hartenstein, Lou Dort, they all can add to their game. But what they do have, Isaiah and Channing, they defend, and your best player defends. There's room for improvement on everybody's game individually, physically, and then obviously experience. They won this one, so that gains like 2 or 3 more years of experience and confidence. Chet Holmgren has nowhere reached his peak.
Not even close.
He's not even close. So you think about him in the next 2 or 3 years. It is scary how good this team can be. And you're led by your guy, and you guys know this, because you did it. I'm the best player, and I defend.
And I defend.
And I defend is not a lot of superstars.
Yeah, the way that OKC buys into each other is their most dangerous attribute. They buy into each other's success, which means they hold each other accountable. When somebody isn't rotating correctly, Dagnall's allowed to put somebody else in. Nobody mopes, they jog off the court. That's something little, right? That's a sign of respect, right? Not like, I'm not getting mine. This has shown that teams can win. You can have individual success above your misses. We could talk about Chet Holmgren. Yeah, he wasn't very good from the three-point line. What do you have, 5 blocks tonight?
Yeah.
6 blocks. What was his impact? Did you see the us was above the me? That's what's dangerous, because most teams, that guy would go, oh man, I'm not getting my points. He was doing everything that was necessary on that possession. Even if it was shoot it when he hadn't made it, he shot it because it was what was necessary.
And to Channing's point, right, when you look at, okay, what did someone do in the biggest moment? Yes, SGA, 29-12. We almost expect that. But Chet Holmgren coming in, we were saying, okay, he's had some up and down games in this series. 18 points, but here's the thing. 5 blocks, and he had 6 total blocks in games 1 through 5. Zeke, he really brought it in this game 7, had his best game of the NBA Finals.
Yes, he did, but it's expected of him because he's done it in high school, he's done it in college, and now on the biggest stage, he does it again. You know, he's never been one to shrink from the moment whenever the moment called for him to be big. And Chet was big tonight. You know, you talk about the block shots, but also his scoring, what he was able to do scoring-wise, and the confidence that he continued to have in himself. And, you know, you talked about team, and this reminds me so much of our 88, 89 Piston team defensively, because I thought we were the best defensive team ever, and I still think we were one of the best defensive teams ever. But we lost Mahorn in 90. We lost Mahorn in 90, and we still came back and won back-to-back. But defensively, what the Detroit Pistons were all about at that time, we were rooted on the defensive end, sharing the basketball, 8, 9 people scored, which made us a true team. And as OKC talked about sacrificing, believing, and trusting in each other, that's what was on display here tonight, a total team concept of winning.
What I love about Chet, I said in the pregame, he played big today. Only shot 2 threes, but he got block shots and he rebounded. And that's the one thing about his versatility. He can play big, he can play small. We saw him, he was trying to dribble around guys. That's not what you're gonna do against this Pacer team.
Right.
You're playing a bigger guy that's slow, yes. But he came out and said, let me block shots, let me rebound, let me take high percentage shots. I just think this right now is scary for the rest of the league because how good this team can be. And I also want to point out, Zeke and Channing, Coach Dagnall has got this monkey off his back. He's a young coach.
Yes.
And like right now, he can go and say, hey, I just went up against Rick Carlisle, and you know what? I came away a winner. But first of all, also, I would love for us to all talk about the prayers and respect we have to give to Tyrese Halliburton.
For sure.
I think that's one thing. He's a warrior, the way he came out and competed, and I hated to see that. Almost brought a tear to me in my eye when the injury happened.